at you.
He's running away with the.
Staring at me.
All right, do your thing.
All right.
It says we're live.
Hit live. Okay, so if you want to keep the rain off our heads, that's supposed to come later. Here. If you like coffee, and remembering we have a coffee anthology coming out. Talk to these guys, let them know you heard about it here, okay? And smart ass t-shirts.
Wait, guys, you're not showing us live to me. Oh, there we are. There you are.
Are we live? Are we Memorex? What the fuck are we? What the fuck are we?
Smart ass t-shirts.
Yeah.
Talk to this guy. I'm assuming all of that went through. If it didn't, that's okay. Today we are joined by Mike Burke, the muscle at Raconteur Press.
Stand at ease. Sorry, Jonna. Sorry.
Jonna has ordered us not to discuss military stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've been listening to you guys for a whole goddamn weekend.
Well, we survived Fool's Con, both in the figurative and literal sense.
No kidding.
No kidding.
The weather went to shit, to put it mildly, on Saturday night.
That ain't no lie.
Yeah, you didn't tell me it was a canoe trip.
But thankfully nobody was hurt in our area that I'm aware of. We did have a tornado touchdown about 20 miles away. We did have people that are experts that were watching and listening to the appropriate weather authorities
On multiple different channels.
on multiple different channels. Yeah. We all got through it. Sadly, there were deaths up in Oklahoma and east. But what happened, as Cedar says, we got 5 inches of rain. But what happened is we've got a sloppy dry line right now. And by sloppy, that means it moves back and forth. Normally, the dry line's pretty much fixed in this part of the country. It runs from Marfa, Texas, through us, and continues northeast. It's been moving about 20 miles either way.
It's a wobbling back and forth.
As it wobbles, yeah. And Alma up in Amarillo and I have been chatting quite a bit about it. She's seen it move all the way back west of Amarillo.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a reach.
Yeah. Watch the dew point go from 60 to 8.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting spring, such as this. But
yeah, and then some.
we had a good time. We had fun. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. As far as I know, everybody is home safe, which is the other major concern. Well, except for Mike.
Look, it wasn't the squirrel, and I need to apologize to Texas for introducing not an invasive squirrel species into the population from northern Missouri.
So here we are. Mike is telling me that his truck was making a funny noise when he crossed the Red River. It's like, okay. So go outside and tell him pop the hood and let's see if the belts are still intact.
Yeah.
He popped the hood, and sitting on top of the circuit relay box is this bloody huge squirrel that looks at me and goes, "Fuck you," and dives under the.
I heard that, and I was like, "There's a goddamn squirrel in the engine."
And there was.
The squirrel was there the night before in my garage. I go into the garage. He runs up under the engine block, cussing me out. I was like, okay, I'll just leave the garage door open. Surely he will go and rejoin his people.
Right.
Next morning, I get in the truck, start heading south.
Drive 650 miles.
Yep. He lives by the Shriner Temple down the street here.
Not only that, but here at the blanket fort, after we figured out a squirrel, we couldn't get a whole bugger because man, he was slick. I said, all right, we'll just take the long way in and we'll go over some rough stuff and we'll look in the rearview mirror and he'll be pinwheeling down the street. And I figured surely he's squirrel problem is solved. Get to Shrine, pop the hood to see, and there he was again sitting Zach. He had used a corner of it as his bathroom. That's how long the little bugger had been there.
And in the process of that, Mike also discovered that his rear differential seal was leaking.
Yep.
So that's why he's still here. And Ben has not made it home yet. Well, hopefully it'll be smooth trip the rest of the way, Ben.
Yeah, he's 5 hours from home.
Yeah.
Don't walk here next time.
What we want to talk about today, one thing we want to talk about is writing. And I'm not saying that there are some overeducated or strangely educated people in our group, but
That's putting it politely.
I was going to say, Jim, you are such a master of understatement. I mean, serious. It's just, we have the weirdest collection of brains. It's just,
Friday night, sitting around after we started setting up, and the potluck was started, and we're sitting over there, 7 or 8 of us sitting there talking. And somebody said something about red shirts, and somebody else brought up the Odyssey.
Yes.
And that degenerated, for lack of a better term, into conversations about the Spartans, the Greeks, Thermopylae.
How many, by way of Mike here, how many articles of the Uniform Code of Military Justice Odysseus broke?
Yes.
Yeah. I wrote a paper for my Epic World Literature class where I charged him with at least 6 or 7 violations of the UCMJ.
Yeah.
Professor didn't understand a word of it, but I got an A. So that's all that matters.
But this was just an example of the way the weekend went.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Don, it sounds like one of our blog meets too, because it's the same bunch of people.
And then that devolved into everybody decrying at length about the ethics of tying yourself to the mast.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He compromised the command structure, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's like saying, "Hey, stay out of Engineer Alley, boys."
Yeah.
Because that's where we're gonna be. You know, like.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Was that too militant, Jonna?
Or the four deckhand when Odysseus walks around and goes, you and you, red shirts.
Yeah.
Huh?
Or well, no, I mean the whole. Hey, let's park our fleet in this bay. I'm gonna weigh anchor here. You guys go on ahead.
Yeah.
Go on ahead.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh man, those giants are cannibals. Start rowing, boys.
Yeah.
Oopsie. Their brave sacrifice will long be remembered.
Yeah.
If in case anybody's wondering, somebody sent me wiffle foxes.
I think that was Jesse.
Jesse. Actually, and they're squishy wiffle foxes.
Yeah.
So apparently I can fling these and absolutely no chance of hurting anybody, which takes kind of the fun.
You could put an eye out with the ear.
Yeah.
It's squishy.
So things got worse or better, depending on your point of view, Saturday.
worse.
Because people were migrating group to group to group, which is one of the things that we like about it, because you can get multiple groups going talking. Sorry, Kermit. What's an Odyssey? A lengthy voyage with only one survivor. Oh, wait. That comment actually got made, Padre. Yeah. So these groups would form and reform and change, and people would wander off and wander back. And the number of ideas that were getting kicked around.
Oh, God, yes.
And people are going, I could write that. I could write that. Shit, I'm already trying to write that. The thing is, folks, ideas are free.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is to take an idea and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no right or wrong way to do this stuff.
Oh, no.
All the stories have already been told already, so who cares?
Yeah.
Do a fresh take on it.
Yeah, Shakespeare's done them all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And he stole them from somebody else.
Yeah.
Frankly. Right.
Yeah.
He was just lucky enough to
He just had
write them down before.
good enough PR that everybody remembers him and not the guy he
Yeah.
stole them from.
Exactly. Yeah,
there's
and he
some
stole
guy-
most of them
yeah.
from Chaucer.
Some guy painted something on a wall.
Yeah.
And I already seen that in France.
Yeah.
You know.
Cave in France. I saw that.
Banksy.
Yeah, fancy. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Write your trash. Tell a story.
Yeah.
That's the only
Just
way you're going to get better at it anyhow.
Get it on paper or the screen. That's all. Just get it on paper.
You know, that was actually kind of like the first lesson I realized writing. Your first draft's going to suck.
Yeah.
It's okay to let it suck.
Somebody once said, "Give yourself permission to suck,"
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that was I used to think that was kind of trite. It's taking on new importance now. Give yourself permission to suck.
You don't have to master it overnight.
Well, and the other thing too, along that same line, don't try to make the story perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Get help.
Oh, yeah.
Alpha readers, beta readers. Odyssey of Spurtle. No. Kermit, we're going to talk when you show up. But the thing you've got to do, folks, is to take the personality out of that ownership and be able to take criticism.
Yes.
And yes, that is hard. Jesse says, fail early, fail often. Yes.
Yes.
That's going to happen.
Those people are the successful ones.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah,
I go
actually.
back and look at my first book I put out, and it sucked. I'll be perfectly honest. It sucked. All it was a bunch of short stories I loosely tied together. But it got me out there. Now, granted, it took 6 months to sell 200 books. But since then, I've sold over 5,000 of that book. But the thing is, know what you can do. Know what you're willing to try. And know what you can't do, I think, is more important.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Cedar, she can write, she can edit, she can do art covers, she can do all that. I can barely write. I can't do art. I sure as hell can't edit. I spent way too many years writing technical documents.
Here's your comments. Put them somewhere.
Exactly.
So, speaking of editing, please get an edit pass on your short stories before you submit them to Rack Press.
Yes, Cedar, you're very good at what you do.
She is.
You're much better at it than I am. And
I love the impromptu classes that Cedar was giving over there. She commandeered a table and was holding against all comers.
Yeah.
And was giving impromptu classes. And it was fantastic to watch.
Yeah.
Well, she was trying to get work done, and people kept coming over and asking questions. So.
Yeah, Sir Brass, I know that feeling. Tech writing does not help your brain as far as creative goes.
It's a whole different thought process. Technical writing and creative writing are two different thought processes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, give yourself permission to go down rat holes.
Well, I mean, you might be a decent writer, but suck at storytelling.
Yeah.
You might be a great storyteller and suck writing.
Yeah.
Like those are different things. Yeah.
Very much so.
Learn the elements of story.
But by the same token, don't be governed by it.
Yes. Right. You can't break the rules until you know them, right?
Yeah.
So we're fun.
The key words one was spontaneous, though. Yes, Cedar was definitely holding court.
Yes, Cedar was. Ben was holding court. I don't know.
Oh my.
We had Ben Yallow, and we took the opportunity. We were in the shrine, Mascat Shrine,
Mhm.
and they had posters for
Backdrops.
backdrops. Thank you,
Backdrops.
backdrops.
Yeah.
They had backdrops on the walls, and we decided.
So Mike and John got bored.
Mike and our
The
theater,
theater nerds. The theater
Our
nerds said
theater
some
nerd-
improv.
got bored and started having fun. And then we snatched there's a throne for some reason. We found a throne, and we stuck Ben on it, and then we gathered around lovingly.
We gathered around for story time at the feet of Ben Yallow.
And he had so much fun.
Yes, RK. It's techno babble when you're doing.
I have to tell you what Ben said when I asked him to sit on the throne. He says, "Well, that seems reasonably funny."
Oh.
And Tom Rogamy says, bored nerds with no chemistry lab. Thank God.
Mm.
Not that you weren't hunting for what was in the under the various cabinets in the kitchen.
Wally
John.
says there were no skulls on the throne. Sadly, not this year.
We only wanted to violate the Masonic Shriner, furniture as little as possible.
It was funny as hell because there were all of these Egyptian backdrops.
Yeah.
They're like Egyptian backdrops every wall and one Aztec.
Yeah, one
Pyramid.
Mayan Aztec temple,
Yeah.
There's some cognitive dissonance here.
Yeah.
That's a typical supply chain screw up, right?
And Evelyn says, I have crochet patterns for skulls. They're soft and can be thrown. Just saying.
Do not.
Oh, damn, girl.
Who said that? Yeah.
Evelyn
Evelyn.
at Crane's Hearth.
And RK immediately goes, ooh, share.
Can you crochet a necklace of skulls?
Yes.
I'm sure she could.
Can you imagine Ben in his little suit with a necklace of crocheted skulls?
Hell, just a necklace of skulls.
That would be acceptably funny.
Sir Brass on Techno Bible. You have to start with a mindset of this will only be pulled out of the database after I'm retired and the person assigned to execute it hasn't been born yet and is a lowly intern. Yes.
I'm assuming that most of the folks that are in the chat are appreciative of Sir Terry Pratchett.
Yes.
One of the characters he created that I'm extremely fond of is Cohen the Barbarian.
Yeah.
Ben would fit as Cohen the Barbarian.
Yes.
What?
In the Pratchett story, not in the Robert E. Howard story.
Oh no.
Oh God. Evelyn says she's got 9 gigabytes of crochet patterns.
Good Lord.
Well, that's what she does.
Yeah, point.
You know, Evelyn puts a link up to your crochet stuff. She actually sells that.
Yeah, it's Cohen the Barbarian is this little Jewish guy.
Yeah.
The little Jewish grandfather.
Yeah.
Oh.
He is the last of the barbarians.
Yep. And it's oh my God, he when he finally dies in one of the Pratchett books, the Valkyries come to get him and he mugs them and rides off on the horse.
Yeah.
Because he's not done yet.
Yeah. The other thing though is that, you know, if you read Pratchett, you read, you know, that's the other thing is the amount of books that came up this weekend that people
Oh, good
read.
Lord.
Oh, yeah. My homework list is a mile long.
Yeah.
No kidding, right? No
But
kidding.
it's
Homework from Ben.
yeah.
Yes.
Most of us grew up reading. That was our escape.
Mhm.
And I'm going to go military for a second. So,
Okay. Just a second.
but the libraries that we had in the Navy
Mhm.
filled cruise boxes, and it was not unusual even on the carrier deck to see guys out there working on airplanes with a book in their pocket.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, again, sorry, Jonna. You know, in the infantry, there's often a lot of time sitting around waiting on an
Yeah.
airplane, waiting on a truck, waiting
Yeah.
on something, and we, you know, would my saw pouch had a book in it.
My
And, yeah.
my left sponson pocket
Yeah.
on the old BDUs. That was where my book went. MRA went right, book went in the
And when you're done, you walked up to one of your buddies and were like, "Hey, man, what are you reading? Let's swap books."
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Oh yeah.
We
Or-
talked about the Commandant's reading list, having Starship Troopers and
Or-
Ender's Game.
every
Oh, yeah.
the
Mhm.
common room of every barracks we were in had a section that was at least 4 milk crates on their sides,
Yeah.
Mhm.
full of books.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that, you know, my left sponson pocket. That's where I had a paperback in there because who
Yeah.
Rick says Cohen also qualifies as low seas rule 1.
what?
Low
Oh,
seas.
low seas.
Yeah. Close.
But no, I read. I came across my love of F. Paul Wilson's Repairman Jack series.
Yeah.
Due to the basically the military community library.
Rick says we had boxes of books stowed in random outboard lockers on the sub. Yep.
I discovered Raymond E. Feist at the in
Yes.
the Marine House, right?
Yeah.
At on embassy duty, because on a wall of books that we got, and there was Raymond E. Feist, you know.
Yep.
Now, those were some strange
Woo!
books.
We got.
Oh,
I couldn't
yeah.
put them down though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were great.
But so
Oh, Bill, they did.
what?
They did a Cohen live action movie on the Beeb.
Oh, seriously, Troll Bridge. Oh, they did Troll Bridge as a light.
Oh, I got to go find that.
Hell yes.
Links
gotta
or
go.
it didn't happen.
But the number of books that were discussed. If you're not subscribed to our Substack, the Ractor Press Substack, you might want to be, because I got suckered into doing some book reviews.
His job. He got suckered into
Oi.
doing his job.
Oi, some book reviews. So if you want to see Law Dog's favorite books,
Yeah.
they'll be up on the Substack.
Coming soon. Law Dog's bookshelf.
Oh, damn, AJ. Chief on the first ship put an engine room on 18 on, 6 off for 2 weeks underway. I needed to spend time reading before I could sleep. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no
yep.
kidding.
Oh, yeah. Troll Bridge is on YouTube.
Yeah, I just found it.
And you're sharing that, right?
Rick just put it in there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And honest to God,
Thank you, Rick.
The
Rick Cutler.
No.
Oh,
Rick
not
T.
Rick. Oh, you know, Rick Cutler's got a story in the Space Cowboys.
Yeah.
he does. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
I heard that.
I think he does it. Doesn't he do the intro too?
Is he doing the intro on
He
as
might,
well? Wow.
Rick Cutler might
Okay.
do the intro.
The BBC also has a version of Going Postal. Didn't know that
I
either.
didn't either.
Yeah, Postal was one of the funnier Pratchett books. Yes, it definitely was.
I don't know, how do you define the funniest Pratchett book? Really? I mean,
We don't have enough time.
People, it depends on what character you like the most.
Mm-hmm.
that point. Moist von Lipwig.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'll be honest, I was introduced to Pratchett via Neil Gaiman, right? And the book they did together,
Good Omens.
Good Omens,
Yeah.
which is hilarious. The show
Yeah.
sucks. Because I loved that the biker. The one thing I remember is the bikers that joined,
Yeah.
The Four
yeah,
Horsemen.
Yeah.
and one of the bikers named himself Grievous Bodily Harm.
Yeah.
I was like, that's genius. Genius.
I first came across Pratchett, and I'm not kidding. We had a riot in the jail, and I had showed up to start dragging my knuckles and making people behave, and somebody fast pitched a book at me.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked it up, grabbed a book, and it was Guards.
He was just trying to expand your knowledge. That
Yeah.
was-
So after we got done, and I'm back to control room and bored,
Mhm.
I started reading this book from somebody I'd never heard of.
Yeah.
And holy gods, it was, the whole thing with the dragon was just. What gets me is it starts out with this guy sneaking down an alley,
Mhm.
and he is going to his meeting of his secret society. And he
Mm.
goes through like a page of sign and countersign
Mhm.
until he finally gets one wrong. It's like, are you sure that wasn't the Spalded Eagle? No, it is the Grievous Unicorn. Oh, you want the sign of the Broken Shard 2 doors down.
Yeah.
I am going to read this.
We were in Australia doing training with the Royal Australian Regiment, and I wandered into an Australian bookstore, and they had a bunch of Terry Pratchett books
Yeah.
I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the Carpet People,
mhm.
and that was
Tiffany
brilliant.
Aiken.
Yeah. People were mining bronze from a penny that was on the floor, and
Yeah. Also, Nancy says, for all you Pratchett fans, highly recommend Jasper Ford.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Jasper Ford's great.
Yep.
Oh, so much fun.
So honestly, since I started the Guards, the stories about the Watch are my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorites. I've told people, and I'll continue to tell people, that Terry Pratchett was the philosopher for our generation.
Yeah.
That man knew more about people than you should, and you find his famous about man is where the falling angel meets the rising ape.
That's pretty much true.
Humans are where the falling angel meets the rising ape, and he's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's just, you read stuff and it's funny, then you go back and read it and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, because
Different level.
oh yeah, brilliant man.
And you can apply that to a number of different authors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, humorously observing the human condition. Yes.
That's a good description. That's a really good description.
Yeah. Yeah. The Kermit says, I have a singing voice for silent film. You and me both, my friend. Yeah. He drank it all, RK.
What?
She said, if you keep swirling at it, it's going to spew out your nose.
Hasn't yet.
Yeah. Same with the ending of Hogfather. Yeah, that's another one.
It's been my caffeine for the day. I really needed it.
Yeah. Douglas Adams, yes. Spider Robinson.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Was it stainless steel? Harry Harrison, stainless steel rat.
Oh,
Stainless
yeah.
Steel Rat.
Stainless. That's Retief. Who did the Retief series?
Keith Laumer.
Keith Laumer.
Keith Laumer, yeah.
And then there's Doc Smith, Lensman.
Yeah, the Lensman series,
Oh,
which
man.
is one of the first ones I ever read, was E. Doc Smith when I was,
I
9 or 10 years
I
old.
read the Retief, and for those of you who don't know, the Retief series is about, it's in the future, and it's this diplomat.
Yeah.
And I read it, and it's like, har har, that's funny, that's really funny. And then I got to deal with the Department of State.
Yeah.
That was not that. No,
that was
Keith Laumer had to be in the State Department at one time because
Yes.
that was a spot on of how the State Department works.
Yeah. He was. Yeah, he also wrote the Bolo series, which a number of people have camped onto. Robert Asprin's another one.
Yeah, I was just thinking
my
of him.
God, Robert Ashford.
Myth Ink Link, and
Yep.
I actually really liked his Fool.
Yeah,
Fool's
the Fool's,
Fool's
series,
Company, yeah.
Fool's Company, yeah.
He also
And he wrote most of those with Jojo and Nye.
Right. He was having a lot of trouble, I think,
Yeah.
writing at the end there.
well, he had an issue with the IRS there,
Hmm.
and they were
I don't remember where that would happen.
Yeah.
they were snagging a lot of his royalties,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it was like, "Fuck you! I'm not going to write because you're not."
And of course, I do have a Robert Asprin story, but I'm not telling it here. So,
Is it all the hot tub?
yeah, and every convention he was at, I'd run into him in the bar, and he'd insult me, and Steve Barnes would threaten him and make him buy me a drink.
Very well.
Fool's
Oh.
Company is a great series on small unit leadership. Yes.
Yes.
His Time Station
Particularly
series.
the first two books, I
Yes.
think, are really good.
Oh yeah, the Time Station series that he wrote.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was-
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, the time stations were holy crap.
Yeah.
That was some weird trash, like the things he was coming up with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was good.
Yeah.
Um,
Have a
Yeah.
good one, Cedar. We'll talk to you later.
Fool's Company was good. Like I said, the Time Station series I loved. It was very libertarian.
Yeah.
His libertarian side popped out hard on Time Station.
Oh my gosh, who wrote the Xanth books?
Piers Anthony.
Piers
Here's
Anthony.
Anthony. Yeah.
I really enjoyed reading about. He's famous for the Xanth, but he was writing about the like death and time.
Yeah.
Incarnations of Immortality.
Immortation. Yeah.
Very strange man.
Hey, Bear,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Rick,
But he's a writer.
the Myth series was good too.
this series is fantastic, especially if you get the ones. They did a short run comic with who the fuck's that illustrator? Phil Foglio.
Yeah.
Phil Foglio and his wife illustrated graphic novels for Myth Adventures, and they
Yep.
made it better because there's stuff in the background that just
Yeah. Once you hit time, that was pretty much the end of it because it just got too hard to read.
on the Incarnations of Immortality.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the series we're talking about, you kind of peter out at
Yeah.
some point. I mean, I never finished the third or fourth.
Yeah.
Fool's Company.
Right.
Book, right?
The first two
First
on
two were
Fools
really
were
good.
good.
Yeah.
There was a lot of insight into, and John is going to throw something at me. lot of insight into military mindset in those.
Let's talk about that.
Well, and,
We just got the eyebrow, lads. We just got the eyebrow.
yeah, well, and I'm going to read this comment because Sir Brass is dead on the money. It's amazing how much I learned about the military and military culture dynamics from Ringo, Weber, Kratman,
Yeah.
you know, Tom Clancy,
David Drake.
David Drake. Yeah.
David Drake had a insight into a particular period that was second to none.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was, and the period that he, the Vietnam period that he knew and was writing about applied to the Bush War in Africa. I mean, almost dead nuts on.
Dave Sherman and Dan Craig wrote a great series of books called The Star Fist.
Oh yeah.
And the best description I've ever come up with is it's Vietnam Air Marines in space.
And that's
And it was,
Sure.
and again, had that very like, oh, these are Americans in space, essentially, right?
Yeah. Well, David Drake wrote his books as a warning because of what he'd seen and done in Vietnam.
Well, that was
it was
with
also-
Redliners.
he was also getting it out of his head.
Yeah.
It was therapy, much like
And Mona Lisa Foster actually had a poll on her Substack recently, asking, like, I can't remember if she was asking veterans specifically, but saying how much of your experience in the military do you use? I guess she was asking veterans specifically. Do you use in your books?
Yeah.
And well, as a career guy, I voted all of it.
Yeah.
You know, because
You scrub the serial numbers off and
right. And if
go
we
forward.
continually talking about character-driven stories, then we're writing about the characters we met, right, and our interactions.
that
with
we
each
know.
other.
Good and bad.
Yes.
That we know. I dare say intimately.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
I mean, sorry for plugging my own story, but my Space Marine story is, the first sergeant dropping in with a squad of Marines because he just wants to get the hell away from his desk.
Yeah.
Right.
Not that was.
Not that was autobiographical at all.
Yeah.
It quite frankly was. The end of that story was me getting my ass chewed by the battalion sergeant major. It's really great that you're going on patrols with the Marines. It really is. But your admin's suffering.
Yeah. Well, that's always going to happen.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of Rick Cutler is in his Space Cowboys story. That's
Does he write Space Cowboys?
He does. I believe he does. I wonder how much of him's in that. John is being very amused over.
John is about to throw something at us.
I am not.
Either that or she's going to pick up that friggin' halberd behind her and use it on us.
Oh man, Rick Cutler's a great sport.
Yeah.
Good guy.
He is.
Yeah.
And
Oh, he's a lot of fun.
He's going to be raconteur press as Joe Buckley. I can see it already.
I've actually had somebody this weekend. I've forgotten who it was. Says, when can I be the Joe Buckley of Raconteur Press? I said, we've got a Spurgle. We said, no, not that way. Said, okay.
Yeah, Sir Brass, down Periscope is dead on the submarine culture. Yes, that is true stuff.
That's what I hear.
Yeah. The other thing you've got to look at too is, for example, and I'll use Dot. She has basically created a genre
She has.
Mm-hmm.
of tactical romance because
She's military adjacent.
she's military adjacent and made the mistake of bringing some stuff to supper one night.
She asked a question about ambush, and she asked me and she asked Jim, and I went, well, first off, what doctrine are you using?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Which style are we? Yeah.
Which doctrine
We've
are we?
all got an opinion how that's gonna go.
And-
3 hours later,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
she walks out going, I knew I made a fucking mistake bringing this shit over here.
Well, let's okay. Tell me about your planet and the support.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is more of a Fire Force ambush than a typical American ambush.
Yeah.
And I had to explain that.
And then Peter being
having a lot of
British via
experience
South Africa.
with
Mhm.
Fire Force tactics.
Well, and yeah, the terrain's going to dictate. Like he's
Yeah.
a bush. He was a
Exactly.
bush fighter, right?
Yeah.
Jungles are not his thing.
Yeah.
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 Veldt and low brush.
Yeah.
We were talking about tracking and things like that over the weekend.
But she basically has created an entire genre.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not going to say accidentally,
Yeah.
but and
It
the
sells
same,
well.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
sells well.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Mona Lisa.
And here's the thing that going back to what we're talking about, she tried something a little different,
And it worked.
a new take, a fresh
Yeah.
take on an established
Yeah.
a story, right?
The Mona Lisa and some of the other ladies were talking in the chat one day. Regency romance
Mm-hmm.
in space.
Make
You
it
know,
happen.
They're making it happen.
John Van Stry's making it happen, baby.
Yeah.
No, John Van Stryk found his niche and
Yeah.
embraced it and is making.
Well, and it worked for that
Yeah.
that Wolfhound story. That
Yeah.
first book is awesome.
Man can write. He
Yeah.
really can.
Yeah, he doesn't suck. I'm a little pissed.
And he's fast. You know,
Discipline.
He's disciplined. He's
Trained
practiced.
to show up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Wolfhounds was.
I
really good.
was reading Wolfhounds and I could hear the soundtrack for Excalibur in my head, right? And I was like getting excited. I was like, yeah.
Mona Lisa was dead set on making Space Regency happen. Yes, she is, Sir Brass. And
Again, that's out of my wheelhouse.
but the thing is, the discussions
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that started on here and then have migrated
Mhm.
no kidding.
through the net on the Space Regency romances. You know, that's going to end up being another genre.
Right. And well, and in the end, it's all about the elements of story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's where we're all going to agree. That,
In the end, it's the Raconteur Press motto: be entertaining.
Mhm.
Story must be entertaining. All else is negotiable.
Fluffy Yeet cow with
Unless
a bow
it's a
tie.
50-word story, then it has to be 50 stinking words.
Yeah.
That's the negotiable part.
Yeah. You do not know how hard it is to write a 50-word story.
Oh my goodness.
so many people learned last year.
Yeah.
Oh no, I will straight up sing the praises of 50-word stories because, and we're not bringing back 50-word story publications, but
Yeah.
we are going to bring back challenges on Substack. So stay tuned for that. But for
Yeah.
me, I got my butt kicked a bunch of times,
Oh, yeah.
right? Not getting accepted until I was like, okay, stop, break down. What's a story? Okay, a story is about a character who wants something and has to overcome an obstacle to get it. Okay, how do I break that down even more?
Yeah.
I need a character, a crisis, and a decision. Can I fit that into 50 words? And that's now my basic outline for all short fiction.
And you were writing it based against a photo prompt,
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
which forced people out of their comfort zone,
Mhm.
because now they had a visual that they had to fit into a story.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They had to create a story. They had to do it in 50 words.
Right. And the best way to start that, we just talked about rough drafts.
Yeah.
Write your 75-word story first.
Yeah.
Start cutting off the fat.
Yeah.
Until you got the elements you need.
Remember when we did the one for FoolsCon?
Yeah.
The number of people sitting around writing frantically
Right.
Right.
and going, "Would you come look at this?"
Oh man, that must have been fun.
Oh, it was not for me. It was.
Yeah.
No. Well, because everyone was going to pick your brain. Is this good
No,
enough?
okay, no, they made the mistake of saying, "So can I have an image?" And I'm like, "Oh, you bothered me for like 3 days now. I'm
Yeah.
gonna give you." Of course, Wally, bless him.
Yeah.
Wally's been doing really well, and I walked up and gave him a giraffe with a piece of cheese on a skateboard. It's like, what are you doing to me? I said, you will rise to the occasion, and he did.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
But I had people snagging me going, "Come read this. Go see what you think."
It's like collaborative story writing. It was the best thing ever.
And I'm going, "I'm trying to write my own. Would you leave me the hell alone?"
What was amazing was the the guy that's got a wall full of look at me certificates for writing
Hmm.
that got his at Imaginarium got his
Arlen Andrews,
Yeah.
walking god of short stories.
and goes,
We were standing there. And he's
Here you
like, here's the thing. He's like, I'll be 5 minutes later. He walks back and emails it to me, and I'm like, he comes in.
Yeah.
Well, Molly's is called Jeffrey's Lament.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was just gorgeous. So.
But here again, that's something, forcing your muse to produce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole idea of that started at a con, sitting at the table.
No, actually, I'll tell you where that came from. That was an exercise we did at the arts high school that I worked at.
Mhm.
And we made the kids sit down and do 50-word stories, but we gave them like a week and a half to do it.
Right.
And we were trying to figure out something fun that we could do at a convention because I've been teaching people about Frederick Brown.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we decided, well, let's just go do this at a convention and see what happens.
Well, and you and Ben and I were sitting at the table.
Yep. At Fantasy when we were handing them out.
Yeah.
No, at MarsCon.
Now,
No, it was at Fantasy.
at Fantasy, before we ever did the first one.
And we were talking about Frederick Brown and how amazing he was.
Yeah,
So-
we talked Frederick Brown.
Because he edited the book about Frederick Brown.
Yeah, and Ben had edited
Yeah.
the book.
Yeah.
And
then we were talking about favorite old authors.
Yeah.
We were like, whoa, this is an education. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. That was a fun conversation. We should do that again.
yeah, there were people hanging around. And that's the odd thing about some of these cons is the number of people that are hanging around listening to the conversations.
You say the odd thing like that's
I
singular.
thought that's what we're supposed to do.
Ugh.
Did I con wrong? Eavesdropping on.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, the classic example to me is Larry and I and Peter trying to educate another author at LTUE
Mhm.
about cartels and intelligence
Yeah.
for an hour in the hallway. And I looked around, there were 30 some odd people standing around us.
Yeah.
Oh, the hall panels are the best
Yeah.
panels.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I learned about going to MarsCon with you
Yeah.
guys this year. Is I'm sitting down, and on one side of me, you got John and Courtney talking about publishing, and then to my right, you got Rob Hampson, Larry Correa, Jason Cordova talking about
Yep.
short stories and characters and character
Yeah.
arcs and what public. And I'm like, my head spun off. I
Yeah.
couldn't listen to it all at once.
The other thing is Writer's Dojo.
Mm-hmm.
We don't push a lot of so-called writer's education. Writer's Dojo, Larry and Steve Diamond, well worth it. They've been doing
Oh, yeah.
it for 3 years now, basically for free. I mean, 99 cents. If you can't afford 99 cents a month, but those episodes are all up. They are about the business of writing,
Mm-hmm.
the good points, the bad points, the things that you as an author need to do. It's well worth your time, folks. Go back and listen to them. I go back and still listen to random podcasts. Yeah, I can say that sometimes. Yeah, because it never hurts to
Yeah.
reinforce what you're trying to do.
And you've forgotten half of the things, or you were worried about something else, and what you
And
pulled
I'm
out
gonna
of
rip
that
that
episode.
fucking thing out of your hand. You keep doing that shit.
What is that?
Bad enough that Nancy was doing that.
That's where I got the idea.
Yeah, I know.
It's a fluffy eat cow.
Yeah. Quit choking your eat cow.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mr. Hopkins gave us that.
Yeah. That's actually my character. If Ian ever finishes as a backstory.
Ugh.
Hey, how's that MHI story going?
Mm. One of the reasons I threw together something in an evening because I was frustrated,
Mm.
and sent it to Mike just as a God damn it, get this out of my head. Story about the jungles of Yerd, and
It didn't suck.
it was not good.
It didn't suck. It was a rough draft.
Yeah.
Thus, ended
Everybody
the
has to
lesson.
start somewhere.
Yeah, it gets to suck, and
Yeah.
and actually didn't.
So, if folks didn't get the
I just think that ending could have been clearer. Like I got it, but
Oh
I
my
think
God.
the setup
It
could have
might
been.
need a second round of adding some foreshadowing.
What?
What an idea.
What? It might need to polish that turd.
see turd.
Austin writes perfect stories on the very first drop
Yes.
all the time.
Like the rest of us.
Like
Turd.
the rest of
Mm.
people.
That's why I have 20 alpha and beta readers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong, folks, with going to the experts in the field if you can find them. And you would be amazed at how willing they are to help you.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, yes. It's one of the shocking things, at least in the group that we frequent.
Mhm.
One of the shocking things is how generous they are with their time.
Yeah. And just check your ego in at the door. Like,
Yeah.
don't get butt hurt. I want to know
Yeah.
how do I make this story better? At least tell me.
Yeah, when I've got NASA scientists sending me papers ahead of publication, going, this might work for what you're doing. And I'm going, thank you, Lord, because I was stuck on that.
We gave a presentation or a panel at LTUE one year about guns in
Mhm.
in literature.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
And one of the things people said, how do we learn about the laws? I said, you want to know how to learn about the laws? Put on something that doesn't make you look like a murder hobo. Go to the DA's office, say, hey, I'm an author. And I would like to buy you coffee and pick your brains about laws.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, the elected DA who's looking for good PR will go have coffee with you and talk your ear off.
For hours.
Yep.
Yep. Folks doing a selfie need to not include a bison.
Yes, agreed.
Darwin.
Well, we
Well-
need to clean up the gene pool somehow.
Yeah, that's
So-
I was going to say. Yeah. Sean's.
Apparently, you helped with a battle blimp story.
You know, when people do that, I often wonder, like, how the heck did their people survive until now? Like, I mean,
luck,
Yeah.
sheer luck,
you know, how did they make it across the prairie?
sheer luck.
Right?
There's a lot of it didn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I'm just saying that.
I mean, that was the first purge of the. Well, that was the second or third purge of the gene pool.
The
Mhm.
ones, those they flew in after the hard work was done.
Possibly,
Yeah.
possibly, yeah.
Speaking of which, did anybody see the news report about Nashville? About people going, stop fucking moving here.
Yeah, to build a wall
Yeah.
because Oregon did that too and it didn't work. So
Yeah, because Larry Ellison is moving Oracle to Nashville,
oh great.
the entire company.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So much for Nashville.
California.
Yeah.
So much for Nashville.
Tom says, my family's case, we survived through sheer stubborn. Yeah.
And the fact he's the size of a rock troll.
Yeah. My cousin, his wife was dying, and so he retired early to take care of her. And he traced our family back to the 1700s.
Wow.
And it's funny the number of Baptist ministers and doctors in my family and military. Sometimes all three at once.
Right.
But they kept staying on the front edge of progress.
Mm-hmm.
So they got a grant in Virginia. It started getting crowded. They got a grant in South Carolina. Revolutionary War happened. And Richard and John Curtis, my 7-time great grandfather, ended up fighting with the swamp fox.
Wow.
They left there because it got crowded,
Mm-hmm.
came to Mississippi, founded a town just north of Natchez. Got run out of there because he married people that were not Catholic.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Yeah. And left there and came to Louisiana in the 1850s. And that's where the family finally settled,
Hmm.
for what that's worth.
Well, it reminded me of that Davy Crockett saying, like,
Yeah.
I knew it was time to move when I could see the campfire of my nearest neighbor on the horizon. Like, dang, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to point out that once my family got kicked out of Scotland, we usually wound up selling arms to both sides throughout various conflicts.
Yeah. So yeah, people. I'm not going to say my family's normal because they're not.
We know you.
Hush. But people tend to do things for various reasons, many of which we never know. It could be money. I mean, my family history, thanks to my cousin, got a good grasp on it and a lot of documentation. So I know why some of the things got done.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of other stuff that's like, damn.
My dad once said, I should put this in a story somewhere, that the McMurtry coat of arms should have been a mullet rampant with the motto "Yeehaw."
That is well said. That should be a T-shirt with no explanation. A coat of arms with a mullet rampant.
Yeah.
Because near as we can tell, outside of one general, and he was kind of calabash.
Yeah.
We pretty much sold arms to both sides of the Civil War, both sides of the Revolutionary War.
Well, capitalism, it's a thing.
Yeah. There's capitalism, then there's capitalism.
My grandfather and his twin brother actually ran guns in South America. I discovered.
Yeah.
We all have interesting, we have interesting backgrounds. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like you do.
Some of those are buried accidentally. Some of them are buried on purpose.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
There was Murtala Muhammad International Airport in Lagos. I remember my father's British buddy in Nigeria looking at Dad after. Okay. Dad had run out of his army contact for explosives for Kraken Wells.
Yeah.
Had wound up supporting the wrong side in a revolution, and had become somewhat shorter suddenly, and drastically. So Dad had to go find explosives somewhere. So we flew to Beirut, and Dad went somewhere, and he bought a B-40 rocket launcher and 5 rockets. And he said he didn't need the rocket launcher, tried to give it back to the guy in the souk, and the guy said, "Oh, no, sir, you must have this." And Dad said, "I don't need it." "Oh, sir, it comes with the rockets."
Yeah.
So Dad's
also, are you going to use the rockets?
Yeah.
Dad's walking out of the souk, and he drops the rocket launcher in a trash can. And as we're taking the taxi back to the hotel, there's this guy on a scooter. Sir, you have dropped this. So we wound up flying into Murtala Muhammad International Airport with the rocket launcher rockets in the overhead compartment. Landing, Dad had the rockets in a duffel bag with the Playboy magazine, a bottle of White Horse whiskey, and $100 bill.
Yeah.
Which got us a red cap to put everything on the luggage. And I rode it out to the. And the entire time, every time Dad tried to get rid of the fucking launcher, somebody would give it back to him, because we got chased all the way to the airport in Lagos by a very well-meaning Nigerian cop. "Sir, you have left this behind, sir.
You dropped your rocket launcher." Oh my gosh.
My father's Nick, who was my father's best friend in Africa, said, "How did you know how to do that?" And Mom went, "It's in the genes."
That's before TSA ruined it.
Yeah.
Can't bring your empty rocket
Bastards.
launcher on it.
Well,
Bastards.
TSA is nothing more than kabuki theater.
Yeah.
It is exactly who
Smoke and mirrors, baby.
Yeah.
It's not even good smoke and mirrors. Not even. I mean, the number of.
Yes,
Okay.
Holly, it helps to put on pants before you go vote.
That's said by someone who learned that the hard way.
Yes.
You have not met Holly.
There's
You will.
there's a story there. But no, at TSA, when I announced that I've got the pocket knife and how do I send it back, and they refuse to tell me, it's when they catch it.
Yeah.
If I'd have been going, la 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 all the way through, they never found the damn pocket knife. They haven't before.
Hell, I went back and forth on 2 international trips with a Leatherman Wave in my backpack. I'm a carry-on
Mm-hmm.
that they never caught.
I remember when the whole 9/11 thing first started. I was in Okinawa.
Oh,
Me and another recon guy were heading back to Quantico, and they took goddamn carabiners.
Yeah.
My buddy had a carabiner on his back. Well, that can be used as brass knuckles.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, and your damn file off your nail clippers. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I could fashion better weapons with stuff that's already on the plane.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
okay. I remember going one time. I had a German rot ring fountain pen, which in the 70s they used to have an ad for the rot ring fountain pens,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and they had the old can of Coke that wasn't aluminum.
Yeah.
And you'd have this woman's hand, this very flourish, and then they'd stab it through the Coke can, pull it out, and continue writing.
Yeah.
That's how tough it was.
Mhm.
So I show up at the checkpoint. I've got that fountain pen. I've got a cane, and I have a big ass master lock with a lizard tail rope belt. And they are giving me guff about the file
Mhm.
in my DOP kit. Sir, we must, and it's just, we must take this. It's like,
Really?
Yeah.
okay.
Never mind that I can put the lock through the buckle of my belt, and now
Yeah.
I've got a flail.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I've got a cane that will guarantee you won't break.
Yeah.
I've got a stabby, and y'all are taking the little metal
Yeah.
file in my
Oh,
DOP
yeah.
kit.
So anyway, yeah, that's
Schmucks.
we're not getting any deeper into that subject.
No,
'cause-
because we'll violate
yeah,
the Jonna ordinance
yes,
on
Yeah.
on Baffle Gap.
we want to be able to come back later.
I had an original embassy pin. And for those of you who aren't in the know, embassy pins were sold in D.C. because there are certain places that State Department had to go that the host country would not let them carry weapons. So this one company made these pins that were totally innocuous, and you could hurt
Yeah.
people with them.
Mhm.
And I have carried that through so many different weapons-free environments. It's not even
Yeah.
funny.
And here's another one. This isn't military, John. This is about the State Department. Well, we're talking about deception and
We got to go 3 more minutes, guys.
you're talking about deception and people not paying attention and not observing. I knew one of our RSOs, regional security officers
Yeah.
with the Department of Security Service, was telling us a funny story about, they're running protection on this group of diplomats going into this conference, and they're stopping all the men.
Yeah.
And frisking them, and all the, these tough burly DSS guys are coughing up all their firearms, and they couldn't go in with them. In the meantime, she's in her little pantsuit and just a pretty young lady waltzing around, and she's the only security personnel in the entire room with a firearm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So deception ops work.
The
Yes, Evelyn, please put your online shop link in the chat.
specialist sundress did waltz into a embassy one time with everybody's thou shalt not have under her sundress, and we got the credit card swipe, and they waved her on through.
Yeah.
And then we went in back kitchen and we got our guns back.
Hell, at dawn, even when she sets off metal detector, they tend to ignore her.
Yeah.
At your
she's not
own
that big.
peril, if you know Dawn. Trust us.
They thought maybe they thought it was the buzzing in their ears.
Yeah.
It's
I don't.
tinnitus.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Well,
Yes. She had the little red sundress, and she had more
Yes.
HKs under that sundress.
Sundress season is wonderful. Yes, no question.
I don't understand.
I may be old, but I can still look, damn it.
So, in summary, stop being afraid to write your stories.
No,
Yes.
yeah. Which is something I need to work more on.
Well, and you can always draw on the stuff
Yeah.
I was talking to Rick Cartwright. He's got a background of as a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you could do a great Goblin Marketplace story about.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right?
Well, I twisted his arm, got him to do one for the library anthology
Nice.
by going, "You're a lawyer, write it."
Yeah, because you put a twist on the
Yeah.
thing you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take what you know, run it 90 degrees Widdershins and write it.
Yeah.
and let it suck the first time.
You'd be glad Ian wearing a sundress is never in season.
You
True.
are correct. You are correct.
But if he is, make him go through the metal detector. What do you got
Yes.
going on? They're log on. Clang, clang, clang.
Clunk.
All right, folks, we've wasted another hour of your time.
Oh,
Yes, Dawn, you know sarcasm and animals, true.
it was great. I'm not wearing shorts today, but I got to wear shorts this weekend, and my legs
Yeah.
felt so good. That was so great.
The rest of us had to wear sunglasses, but
Oh, Padre, that joke is so old.
Curtis
Hurt
damn
him,
near killed
damn
him.
near killed him. Yeah,
wrecked him. Then yeah.
yeah. Anyway, folks, remember, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff, especially in the summer.
Wear proper length shorts.
Or a sundress.
Yes.
This is a no judging zone.
We will mock you.
Tom rocked me a sundress. There's no judging.
Yeah, no. Anyway, folks, we'll see you on Thursday. God willing, the creek don't rise. Bye bye.